Hi guys, it's Nancy, and this video is for some of my newer subscribers that have been emailing me. Thank you for, first of all, coming to my channel and emailing me, and questions that I get asked often, not just foiling, is, hey, I'm new to your channel, I'm new to card making, and I want to know what kind of supplies, should I be purchasing? What kind of tools do you like to use? So obviously when I am doing a design team video, so when you see me working with Catherine Pooler products, Gina K products, Spellbinders products, I'm going to primarily use their products, right? So if I'm working on a design team, I'm obviously working to advertise their products, so I'm going to be using their products, right? But what do I use when no one's looking? That's the question, right? When I do not have the camera filming me, I'm in my own space. What am I reaching for? So this video is Nancy's most favorite products. When no one's looking, when the camera is not rolling, what are the products that I'm grabbing for? What are my most favorite crafting supplies that I will, if everything got taken away and I could only have my most favorite crafting supplies, which ones would I take? And I will tell you, this actually happened, because if you don't know, I recently moved from Pennsylvania, where I had a whole basement, a huge basement that was all mine. It was a whole crafting space. I had unlimited space. And for 10 years, I built up that craft room. So I got to start from the ground up, and I could buy whatever I want, have whatever I want. And now I've moved to Delaware, where I have a 10 by 10 room. And I literally had to part with most everything. And I could only take what I absolutely loved. And so I'm still purging. And it's very difficult because I love a lot of companies. I love a lot of my craft supplies, but I find there are a lot of companies, and you'll see in this video, that are very similar. So I'm only going to keep what I absolutely need to keep, or what I absolutely love. So let's go through those. Okay. So what are Nancy's absolute love must-haves? Would definitely buy them again. All right, so first things first, blending brushes. Blending has come a long way. We had blending daubers, we had blending sponges, we had a lot of different things, right? So I think by far blending brushes are my favorite. Does it matter the brand? Absolutely does not matter the brand. You can save yourself some money. These are in my Amazon shop. I think you can get 10 or 12 of them. They're colored handles. Again, every single ambassador company has their own brands. Okay. Do I think you need to spend $50? No, you do not need to spend $50. Like I said, a set of these in different colors and different sizes are in my Amazon shop, and they're like, a couple of bucks. I think you can get a dozen of them for 10 or $12. So like $1 each brush. You want to make sure they're nice and soft. I like the ones that are white, and then they will stain the color, whatever color ink. Or you can get these colored ones, white bristles, I mean. So you can see, I don't recommend getting the makeup brushes because they're brown and then they'll stain whatever color ink, but you want to get the white ones. I never wash them. I just try to keep them so that if you're using pigment inks with pigment brushes, if you're using dye inks with dye brushes, it just makes it a lot easier. This brush stand, I'll get the link for you guys. It's a company that 3D prints them. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. And then you just buy this little Lazy Susan. It's a little 4-inch Lazy Susan. And then I just, what's that glue? E3000, E6000, whatever that glue is, that super glued it to the bottom of that, and you have a brush caddy. But no, you don't need any special type of blending brushes. There's many companies that advertise them out there. Lots of great companies. There are different sizes of brushes. So you have detail brushes and things like that. I definitely recommend getting a variety of different sizes. You support whatever company, whatever brands you want, but do you need anything special? No, but I do recommend getting a couple different sizes, definitely a couple of different colors to stick to your color scheme. But again, doesn't matter which brand. It absolutely does not matter. You do not need to spend a lot of money, but I do love my blending brushes. So that's the first thing I'm going to cross off the list. By the way, these are not in any order. It's just whatever is in my hands or closest to me. Okay. Foam tape. Lots of companies, again, have foam tape, but this is absolutely what it is named, world's best foam tape. This is Pear Blossom Press foam tape. And what I like about this foam tape is It's a nice thickness of foam tape in terms of width and also thickness. But what this foam tape is, first of all, it's easy peel. Okay, when we put this down on a card, there's a lot of foam tapes that are out there that you're like, I can't get the paper lining off, right? It's very strong foam tape, but also, let's say you put it down on your card and it's crooked, you don't want it there, it's not permanent until a while later. So it says on here, repositional for 30 minutes, permanent in 24 hours. So if you put your object down or your card base down, you're like, oh, I don't want it there, you have time to move it. And I reach for this over and over and over again. So Pear Blossom Press repositionable, world's best foam tape, and this is the double thick. I'll link their website down below. But I've been using this since we had them on Stamp Wars. I think it was almost 2 years ago. We'll have to get them back, and it's amazing. So again, a lot of companies send me their foam squares, their foam tape, and yes, I use them in the design team videos, but when no one's looking, this is what I'm reaching for, you guys. All right. Some other things that are constantly on my desk that I'm reaching for, maybe you see on camera or not on camera, is a Sharpie marker. I just always have a Sharpie marker. You never know when you're going to be writing on things, labeling things. It's just one of those simple things that we always need. Not the same as a Copic marker, but I guess it's similar, but it's cheaper than a Copic marker for sure. Okay, something very, very simple. A pokey tool. A pokey tool. People are, what's a pokey tool? Well, it's pokey on one side, and these are the newer ones. Some pokey tools are just pokey, but I like these newer ones. So like here's a Tim Holtz pokey tool. I very rarely reach for this one anymore. I have the Spellbinders pokey tool, which has a little brush on the end, but this one is probably one of my most favorite ones like this because it has the pokey tool. This is a Gina K one, but it has the pokey tool on one side, and then it has this little sticky thing on the other side, okay? This comes in very handy because if I'm doing anything with, one, poking out die cuts, but two, if I'm picking up any kind of sequins or small die cuts, this comes in very handy. So this kind of a pokey tool is a little bit more to my liking. Has little glue pieces stuck on the end, than just a regular pokey tool. So some kind of a pokey tool, I would say, have in your arsenal of tools. Next on the list would be glue. All right, I have said this before. My favorite glue, hands down, is art glitter glue. It dries quickly, it dries clear, it comes in a couple different size bottles. This is the 4-ounce bottle, which is the one I use most often. This little decorative thing here, Gloria Wolf, she's in our Foiling Snobs Club. She makes these, but it's not just decorative, it keeps your glue from clogging. So she makes these little decorative pins. Mine's got a little glue booger on it, but it keeps your glue from clogging, which is really nice. But I also put this glue in my Spellbinders and my Gina K fine bottles, okay? So these little fine bottles are also great for when you're doing really tiny things, but it's really nice glue because it dries very quick. It's super strong. I've used this to put furniture together, you guys. It's really strong glue, but art glitter glue. Even though it says art glitter, it is not just for glitter. It is used for everything I do. It doesn't leave wavy lines when you're doing paper crafting. It's very strong for embellishments. Very good for when you are gluing down glitter paper. We all know that glitter paper doesn't always want to stick. Watercolor paper. So this is my favorite glue, art glitter glue. I will try to find the link for that for you guys. And I buy it in the wintertime. They don't like to ship it, so I try to buy it like this time of year before it gets too cold, or craft shows if you can find it at the craft shows. Scissors. Okay, you really want a good pair of fine point scissors, and there's a couple of companies that I recommend. Cutter bees have always been my go-to. I must have like 16 pairs of these Cutter bee scissors, right? Spellbinders has come out with a new fine pair of little fine point scissors, but this has been my favorite pair of scissors. Now, Yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon when Tim Holtz came out with his scissors, but I don't like the serrated edges. Okay, I do like the big handles, but I did not like the serrated edges on his. This is the Spellbinders scissors, and these have been the ones I've been grabbing every day for everything. And I used to tell you guys, like, keep your foil scissors away from your scissors that you cut fabric with. These are my everyday scissors for everything. Everybody in my household knows don't touch my scissors. But I'm telling you guys, these are my favorite scissors. I think these are the 9-inch shears. I'll have to look them up for you. These are my go-to scissors for everything. They're heavy duty, they're non-stick, and I use them for cutting my foil, cutting my paper, cutting my fabric, cutting everything. These are my favorite scissors. So get yourself a good pair of scissors and make sure, you know, they're worth it. They're going to hold up. They're tools of the trade. A staple, I don't think I really need to talk about this one. I think you guys all know. Even though with the controversy and everything that went on when this thing was launched, an intricate is, or not an intricate, a MISTI tool is kind of a staple when you're a card maker. I don't use my big one very much or very often, but I think if you're a card maker, you need one of these, a small one. It's kind of worth the investment. So yes, it's something that you're going to need to invest in if you are serious about card making. Get yourself a little mink. I mean, a MISTI. I keep calling things wrong things. But let's talk about, so I can move some of these things here. Let's talk about paper cutters. Over the years, I have had this love-hate relationship with paper cutters. I cannot tell you how many Tim Holtz paper cutters I went through because I loved the guillotine paper cutter. And now we have surpassed. Okay. The Spellbinders paper trimmer, which, by the way, if you, I don't think Stampin' Up has changed it. Stampin' Up has the same paper trimmer. So Stampin' Up or Spellbinders, same paper trimmer. It has a cutting blade and it has a scoring blade. I sold my Stampin' Up one after I got this one from Spellbinders. I love this paper trimmer. Just make sure that the arrow on your blade is facing up. Okay, if that's not facing up, you could have some issues. But this thing cuts, it scores, it's can do larger paper. It's very lightweight. I love the changeable blades. The track keeps everything straight. Just can't go wrong with this trimmer, okay? But the ones that I use the most often are these, okay? So Spellbinders, Gina K, okay? Exact same guillotine, and it's self-sharpening. And I don't have the issues that I had with my Tim Holtz one. I don't know why the Tim Holtz one, my arm always went upwards, or I would get a snag on my trimmer. And I just felt like I was replacing that one every 6 months. And I can tell you, this has a little locking feature here that locks that blade into place. So these trimmers, you can see, again, it's the same manufacturer. Clearly, they're just different colors. But I love this trimmer. I just cannot get enough of this trimmer. I've never had to sharpen either one of these. I've never had an issue with them. And this is just a really good guillotine trimmer. So it doesn't matter which one you get. Spellbinders, Gina K. This is a really, really amazing. It has little rubber feet so that it's not sliding around on your desk. Really great trimmer. So any of those trimmers work great. Love them. I did a whole video on the glassboard mat. You want to go check that out. I love my glassboard mat. I talked about it before. You can cut on it. You can ink blend on it. You can watercolor on it. It is magnetic, so everything is going to stay in place. The new thing that they came out with are these ink pad. Oh, my sticker came off. It actually didn't come off. There's a magnet on there. Are these ink pad magnet ink pad holders, okay? In fact, I'm going to order some more of these. So I love the glassboard mat. I love these new ink pad holders. So if you can invest in one of these or put that on your Christmas list, I definitely recommend. the Glassboard Studio Matte. They have this new shimmer one. It's so pretty. They now have a big one, which is 12 by 12. So if you are a scrapbooker, you're going to have a lot of room on your desk. So definitely recommend Glassboard Studio Matte and the Magnet ink pad for sure. As a card maker, crafter, you're going to want that. You're going to want to look into investing into those. Okay. Let me move these out of the way. Let's talk about ink pads. Okay. So I love personal preference spongy ink pads. These are the companies that I use for spongy ink pads. Okay. So Catherine Pooler has the biggest selection of spongy ink pads. Spongy ink pads, to me, you get a better impression the first time. You don't have to dip into your ink or your ink pad as often. She has the most amount of colors. She has them in big sizes and small sizes. You can decide if you want to just dabble, just get the smaller ones. Maybe you travel, maybe you have a smaller budget, maybe you have a smaller craft room, whatever you want to do. I have both sizes. Because I travel a lot, so I have the large and the small. That's up to you. Simon Hurley just went from felt pads to the spongy ink pads. So you can see, and I have lots of videos showing all of these companies. Pink and Main has a small selection of some smaller ones if you just want a couple of colors. My go-to black ink is VersaFine Clair, but VersaFine Clair inks are spongy ink pads and they are pigment ink pads, which is pretty cool. Okay, but this black ink you can watercolor over as well. My favorite shimmer inks, I love these inks, are Lisa Horton Cloud 9 Interference inks. Now, I will say this. I don't like her metallic inks. Her metallic inks, which are different from her interference inks, they are so shimmery that the mica comes off. The mica sheds. So if you're going to use her shimmer inks, and the same thing with Catherine Pooler shimmer inks, the mica is so intense it sheds. So you will end up with mica on your fingertips. I don't like that. That you will need to set them. That means you have to spray them with a clear spray, a hair spray, or something like that, okay? If you want my recommendation for a gold ink, my favorite go-to old school gold ink is Delicata Golden Glitz. This ink has been around for a very long time. It is a very rich gold ink, and once it's set, it's not going to go anywhere. You don't need to spray it or do anything. So that is my go-to gold ink. There's a lot of companies coming out there with shimmer inks. You just have to be careful because, again, when they add that mica powder, it can move. But these interference inks are amazing. You definitely want to try them out if you haven't already. As far as embossing powders, things like that, there are two of my favorite companies for embossing powders. Wow and Ranger. So Wow embossing powder, I like their embossing pad. I do like this Rabbit Hole Designs embossing tool. It keeps this powder in here. I think it's like cornstarch or something like that, but you poke this out, keep the static off of your tool, and then you stamp, and then this is refillable, and I don't think I've ever had to refill this, but these are good for detail embossing. And Gina K, and I don't know who makes Gina K's embossing powder. I suspect it's one of those two companies, I'm not sure, but Wow and Ranger are the top two embossing powder companies, and I think most people get their embossing powders from them, but Gina K has fine detail white. For black, I would say just stamp with black ink and then use clear embossing powder over. I really don't use black embossing powder. You just stamp, put clear embossing powder over it, and then just use black ink. For white, Gina K or Ranger's Fine Detail for white. So that's what I recommend for detail. Paper subscription. I have talked about this a lot this year, but I really do like this company for paper subscription. The Paper Insider. A Paper Insider is a quarterly paper subscription company, but they're just a paper company in general. So if you are looking for specific types of paper, they have really smooth white paper. They have a really thick cotton black paper, the Black Savoy black paper I've talked about before. I've used it in better pressing. They have shimmer papers, glitter papers, holographic papers, so many beautiful papers. And this box of goodies comes to you quarterly with all of these beautiful, gorgeous papers, pearlescent papers. Here's some handmade papers from all over the world, and it's shipped to you quarterly. And then you decide, what do you want to do with these papers? Do you want to die cut them? Do you want to make them into mats? Do you want to scrapbook with them? What do you want to do with them? This paper you can hot foil. This is so beautiful. It's a glossy paper, right? Look at how beautiful this would be to die cut. And they give you a little bit of a history of where did these papers come from. And for a paper snob like I am, and you might be if you're watching my channel, this is a great gift idea. This is a great gift to give to yourself, but it comes quarterly. It includes shipping. I believe, I don't have the price in front of me, but I think it's $29.95, I want to say, or $109, somewhere around there for the whole year. But just gorgeous sourced papers that you just can't walk into any store and find. And it's different every quarter. Give it as a gift. Keep it for yourself. All kinds of fun things we can do with it. I love this box when I get it. And anytime I'm like, I need a paper for that, I know I can grab one of my boxes and do that. And sometimes there's just thick cardstock. So I know I just showed you a whole bunch of pretty papers, but sometimes there's just thick cardstock. It's not always just, you just might need a plain piece. Like here's a nice burgundy or dark plum piece of thick cardstock that you can die cut from or use it as a card base. So just nice card paper stock. Okay, so talked about that. Talked about ink, talked about embossing powder. Clean up. Cleanup is very simple for me. Microfiber towels. You can get these in the Walmart car detailing selection. You can get 5, 10. You just want a good microfiber towel. And my favorite stamp cleaning, Ultra Clean. I know this is kind of hard to find sometimes. I'll try to link where I get it from. Ultra Clean. And I do water mine down a little bit. It comes in a regular bottle. I stole this off of an old like hairspray thing and just put that on there. I spray this as stamp cleaner. Spray this down and it lasts a very long time, and I use a microfiber towel. I also keep a box or a thing of Clorox wipes, Lysol wipes, nothing too harsh. Wipe my stamps anytime I'm doing anything with any kind of like lunar paste or glazes or glitter paste or anything like that. Makes it easy to clean everything up. Okay. Storage trays, things like that off to the side of my desk. I have these little trays. There's some from scrapbook.com. There's some from Spellbinders. And then we have these new ones from Glassboard Studios. Whatever it is, it's just a nice way to put things on the side when you are die cutting, when you have scraps, when you have trash, things like that. You can just, kind of put these off to the side and have a little storage spot for things and kind of keep your area a little bit cleaner, neater until you can use these things or, throw them away or whatever you're going to do with that. Okay. So those are nice for things on the side. All right. Let's talk about my 2 most favorite tools or my most favorite subjects, which are going to be, foiling. First and foremost is die cutting. So as you guys know, I mentioned in the beginning, I do have 2 major companies that I probably do the most of my design team work for is Spellbinders and Gina K. They both have amazing die cutting machines. The Platinum machine from Spellbinders is great. I have all 3 sizes. I have the small one, the regular Platinum, and I have the giant Platinum. I use the regular Platinum the most, which is the, is it the 8-inch Platinum? I use that one the most, okay? But I will say that the one that I probably take with me the most and use the most is the Gina K Intricut. And I have said this before in so many videos, okay? I like the versatility of this machine. It is a little heavier, okay? I will say that. It is a little heavier, and neither one of these is a power machine. Since I have moved into my new house, I have not unboxed my Gemini Junior, which is my power machine. I have not. It is still in the garage, in the box. It is nowhere in this craft room yet because I either use my Spellbinders Platinum or my Intracut. And the Intracut is just a little easier for me because it has the dials here for 3D embossing, letterpress, or die cutting, right? So the majority of the time I'm doing die cutting. Occasionally I will be doing embossing, but I can run my Better Press through here. I can run my Spellbinders Glimmer through here. I can do die cutting. I can do embossing. I did a whole video on different embossing folders with this. And I can change the setting of the rollers. I can move the rollers up and down here, okay? The other thing is, again, I mentioned I travel a lot. I travel to hotels a lot. I have a 4-month-old car with 9,000 miles on it, you guys. I drive a lot. I live in hotels for my job. And this has little storage pockets in here on the side. So when I pop this open, see that? There's my little notes for my embossing folders. I can put my little pokey tool in here. I can put scissors in here. I can put my Connect glue in here. So it's nice for me because I can literally store everything in here. It has suction feet to it. So the suction feet stick to my glass mat. So all I have to do when I travel is I take this and I take the cutting plates, and it's only my base cutting plate. It has a magnetic plate to it and a top plate. I don't have to worry about losing anything or taking any additional plates. I take these two in the car with me and I'm good to go. So if you don't need an electronic machine, this machine is very, very helpful. And again, it is a little heavy. So I recommend if you're going to use this, find a stationary position, stick it to your glass mat. Once those flaps are open, it's stuck. It's not going anywhere, and leave it there. And you just learn the settings where it needs to go. Or you could even do it like this. I would probably do it like this. This way you can see your settings on the side, and then you just crank it through. But this machine is so versatile. It's so worth. And here's the other thing. Price point. Gina K has always been very, very excellent with her price point, her customer service. So in terms of purchasing a machine, budget friendly, doing everything you need it to do, space saving, this is an excellent, excellent value for the money. And I cannot be more pleased with a machine. Again, if I had to start all over, and this machine was sent to me by Gina K, but again, when no one is looking and Nancy is crafting, this is the machine that I am using the majority of the time. This is the mat. I was using the original mat and I switched this magnetic mat. This is the mat I use all the time, you guys. All right. And then this little guy is off to the side of my desk because most of the time I just need to do little sentiments, and you can see how cut up my plates are because this little guy is just off to the side. This is the little one, and I'm usually just cutting little sentiments and things like that. He's just off to the corner because he's just a little one. Do you need a little one? You absolutely don't. But if you're looking for something small, easy, you're just cutting sentiments and little things, it's very easy. So I do like my die cutting machines, but if you can only afford to get one, that's probably going to be the biggest bang for your buck, honestly. And last but not least would be the foiling, okay? Hands down, it doesn't matter if you get the mink or the fuse, but I will say this. Do not buy, okay? Do not buy the We Are Memory Keepers mink machine, okay? Unfortunately, it does not have the 5 heat settings. If you are serious about learning to foil, invest properly in one of these 2 machines. Either the pink mink or the Gina K Fuse machine that has the 5 settings, okay? I will warn you, There are a lot of companies out there that have the older Mink machine, the Anna Griffin Mink machine. A lot of them are refurbished, okay? So refurbished means they weren't working properly during COVID. There were chip problems. The machines would overheat. They had a lot of problems, and the old Mink machines were problematic. They didn't work. And so people sent them back and they're refurbished. And you just never know what you're getting. You don't know if it's a reputable buyer. Just because it's coming from Amazon, that could be anybody, anywhere, any part of the country. You don't know that you're getting it from a reputable buyer, right? So you're just going to get frustrated. You're going to get upset. And then you're going to come on my group and you're going to say, I had a Mink machine and it didn't work. It smoked. It smelled bad. It didn't get hot enough. It got too hot, right? The other thing is you need to make sure you're having the right voltage, right? So with the Gina K machine, you can get Canada, you can get Canada, Australia, Europe, and it's going to matter because it's going to have the different plug, but the machine itself is going to have the right voltage for your country. But if you are serious about learning how to tone or foil, you want to get the right machine, and to know it's the right machine, it will have the right voltage. So these machines are identical on the inside. If I open these up, they have the same guts, okay? But the difference is, you know, you have a couple different color choices. The Gina K one now comes in white. This is the original one, which is a light purple, but this now comes in white. But you have the power switch on the outside here. You have the 1 through 5 setting, and the same thing with the Mini Mink from Pink and Main. You have the power setting on the outside. You have the 1 through 5 here. They both have the release button over here if it gets stuck. Okay, there is the large Mink if you're going to be doing larger pieces of paper, scrapbook pages, something like that. You can find those. But if you are a card maker, these are plenty big enough. And then for toner sheets, which I recommend for your leftover foils, either the Pink and Main foilables or Gina K white polyglaze. These are great. And the Deco Foil black ones, do I have those? The black ones are the ones you want as a staple. I don't think that I should have to say that. And these come in adhesive or non-adhesive. This is the only company I know that sells them in adhesive or non-adhesive. The advantage to having adhesive is it's already sticky. So if you die cut it, you can stick it down wherever you want. It's a little bit thicker, which I like. The disadvantages is a little more expensive, right? So you decide, do you want to put the glue on and not spend that extra money? It's a little bit thinner, but as opposed to these, which are a little thicker. But putting the adhesive on makes it a little bit thicker for you guys, and it's just got a peeling on the back. So they do have this different sizes, and they have it thicker. But black is a staple you want. Because you want to die cut from the black. You want to save these pretty colored ones for when you're doing leftover foiling for any of your projects. I showed a video the other day where the colored ones can come in and help you with your foiling because they're colored. But these are such great companies. The customer service, again, that you get from any of these companies and any of the foil from these companies. So Pink and Main, Thermoweb, Gina K, you're not going to go wrong with any of their foils. I don't think I need to say that. And same with their foil products. So foilables or polyglaze from Thermoweb, Gina K, Pink and Main. I don't think I need to say that. You guys know that. Make sure you get yourself a good dusty brush. You can get this one in my Amazon shop. This is the one from Pink and Main. You can use it with either one of these machines or companies. They're interchangeable. When you watch my foiling videos, it's interchangeable between the two machines. It doesn't matter. You can use all these products. It doesn't matter. And Gina K Fuse Foiling Gel. Okay, I talked before about the difference between the Deco Foil Fuse Foiling Gel or Deco Foil Duo Foiling Gel and the Fuse Foiling Gel. And the difference is, one, you have to use heat, and with Gina K's Fuse Foiling Gel, you have to use heat, but you can let it dry completely and not have to foil on it. So you can tint this with ink reinkers and have a tinted gel. You can add glitter to it. You can foil over it. You can leave it clear. So there's more you can do with this and not have to foil, and it's not tacky, where the Thermoweb Duo Foiling Gel, it remains tacky. So you kind of have to use foil on it, but you don't have to use heat. So two different purposes, two different methods, I would say, that you can use. Go back and watch my video if you want to compare, but I like this one because I think this is great because you don't have to use heat, and there's a little bit more you can do with this one, where the other one you have to stick foil to the other one, is what I have to say. Sorry. You do have to use heat to this, but you don't have to foil it. The other one, you don't have to use heat, but you do have to foil it. That's what I meant to say. The other one stays tacky. So that's what it comes down to when it comes to foiling and foiling products. So those are my most used, most reached for products when I am crafting and making things and no one is looking. I think I answered most of your questions and hopefully didn't talk too much here. If you have any questions, post them down below. Oh, two more. Black Sakura Glazed Jelly Pen. Okay, this pen foils beautifully, but it also leaves a nice, thick, line. Let me show it to you. There we go. Okay, so it not only writes like a nice thick line, but this is totally foilable because this is a glaze, just like poly glaze. You can foil over this. So this is nice if you want to write your name and then foil it. You let this dry and then you can foil it, or you just want to fill in eyeballs or reindeer nose, whatever. You can use this. And then the normal white pen that I use, I just opened a new pack and unfortunately they dried out, which surprised me. So maybe I don't even want to show this because I'm a little disappointed. Maybe I just got a bad pack. Is the Jelly Roll white as well, but it just, maybe I just need to go and check those out. Maybe they got all discombobulated from the move. But yeah, all right, now I am done talking. Let me know if there is a go-to product that you always use down in the comments. I would like to know that you just cannot live without, no matter where you are, or something that you just know. But let me know. Thank you guys for watching my video. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. I am almost to 36,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it. So, of course, we will do a giveaway when we get to 36,000 subscribers. So if you are not a subscriber, please click down here on the little icon and click the bell for notifications when I click new videos, and go over to our Facebook group, which is Foiling Snobs Club. Answer all the questions and AI will let you in, and join our group for more fun. You do not have to be interested in foiling. Just be nice and have fun crafting. And I will see you guys over there. Thanks for watching. I will catch you in the next video. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and comment down below. What is your go-to must-have most used product? Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.